today on Lake Commandos.
Oh, there's one. There's one.
Steve goes toe-to-toe with a true legend of the lakes.
Oh, there's a big one.
Hall of Fame angler and angling educator Spence Petros.
Got to be close to 4.
We're going commando with one of the game's greats right now on Lake Commandos.
I love fishing new water. The challenge is always the same. Find fish, trigger strikes.
Ooh, that's a big fish.
But what I really love is beating the other guy. I got a fish. This is Lake Commandos.
A true Lake Commando is never afraid of a little challenge and never intimidated by an opponent's resume. Of course, most guys aren't on their way to the access sitting next to a 30-year member of the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame. Steve Pennaz has his hands full on this mission, facing one of the most acclaimed multi-species anglers to ever wet a line, Spence Petros.
What's going to be interesting is it's early fall, the leaves are starting to change, the water temperature's dropping. This can be a tough time to fish.
Well, it is because the fish are concentrated more. We're in the warmer parts of the year, and there are a lot of the flatter areas, and they're here, they're there. In the fall, you have less places that hold fish, but usually more fish when you do find them.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more of a feast or famine. I think I've written a few articles through the years, feast or famine fall fishing. Let's hope we have the feast and not the famine today.
Both of today's commandos have substantial fishing credentials, but that doesn't always mean success, and this mission won't be easy. We're after late-season largemouth bass on a small, heavily pressured, and extremely fertile natural lake. It may come as a surprise to some, but many fine fishing opportunities exist in and around large urban areas all over the country. Here are the details on today's battleground. It's just 725 acres in size and has a max depth of 46 feet. It's classified eutrophic and extremely fertile, which keeps water clarity very low. The lake may be small, but it's loaded with quality habitat and cover, including numerous points, islands, and humps. There is thick cover throughout, including dense stands of submerged coontail and milfoil. Bait fish are plentiful and include golden shiners, yellow perch, panfish, and a variety of minnow species. The weather is ideal for a fall largemouth mission, with air temps in the low 70s, water temps in the high 60s, and light winds. Those are the conditions the Lake Commandos are facing, and we're about to find out their plan of attack. But we want to know how you would fish it. Let us know online.
Took a look at the water down by the ramp, and it looks like it's a little bit stained. I would suspect having a weed line about 6, 7, 8 feet. We're in later fall, but we do have a warm day. So I want to fish weeds, and I want to fish them, fairly fast. So I'm going to use this ripple shad on a 3/8 ounce jig head because I can jig fish, but then I could work it quick. And because of the watercolor, I've got some vibration going on. So it's almost like fishing a little mini spinner bait where you got that vibration. I've got 30-pound test spider wire stealth on here and a 15-pound test fluorocarbon leader. So I've got casting distance with the thin diameter, I've got good feel, I've got good hook setting, and yet I've got good abrasion strength and invisibility going to the lure. All right, my outfit for casting a jig is I got a 7'6" Villain rod, an Abu Garcia rod, and I also have an Abu reel, which got a 6.4 to 1 retrieve. Now this can be a lot of fun today. Steve's a good friend, and we both have the same initials, SP. My magazine was first, and he came along with his magazine was second. So hopefully that's the way it's going to end up today, me first, him second.
I've been looking forward to this day for months. Spence and I talked back in June and July and say, we got to get together. He lives in Chicago, 8-hour drive difference, and it's really hard to get together. So I'm hoping for a good day on the water. I'm also hoping to beat him today. He's a legendary angler, Hall of Famer, and just a great, great angler. The swim jigs allow us to cover a lot of water, but the crankbait's going to allow us to cover it faster and probably more efficient. Now this is the bull crank from Sebile. It's got a square bill. It's going to run probably 3, maybe 4 feet down. It's a silent bait. There's no rattle in it. And on pressured waters like we're fishing today, I'm liking silent baits a little bit more than the ones with the rattles. I'm throwing it on a 7-foot 6-inch Abu Garcia Veritas rod. It's got a fairly soft tip. I'm fishing it on the MGX, loaded with 15-pound, 100% fluorocarbon trilene, and it's a 7:9 to 1 to retrieve ratio. Kind of fast, but it's been warm. I think these fish are going to be shallow, and I want to cover water. And so this is the rig that I'm hoping really puts fish in the boat today and puts just one more than Spence.
There's a lot of good spawning areas and food producing flats and with fertility.
Boy, I expected more water depth here than this.
What's the water temperature?
Water temp is 62.5 right now.
All right.
I mean, it's 4 feet, 150 yards from shore, and it's all grass.
You got to find the edge of some kind of hole, I would think.
I agree.
A legendary Commando battle is underway, but bass don't read resumes, and even the best are going to have to work to get bit today.
Yeah, it bit me off. Bit me off. My black jig is gone.
Lake Commandos is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life, Trilene, Anglers Trust Berkeley Trilene, Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time, Nanofill, the next generation in fishing line, Fish Hound, real-time fishing reports, and by Garmin, bite your fish, not your fish finder. Steve Pennaz and Hall of Fame angler Spence Petros are in a one-on-one battle to find and catch heavily pressured largemouth bass. But figuring out how to catch fish under the toughest conditions is something Spence Petros has done as well as anybody for over 40 years. He was the editor of the legendary Fishing Facts magazine for over 20 years and was inducted into the Freshwater Fishing Hall of Fame in 1989. He is one of the country's most respected writers, seminar speakers, and angling educators, developing the unique Chicagoland fishing schools as a way to pass along his extensive knowledge and experience.
A lot thicker weeds right here.
Yeah,
than there was.
What happens is we're 5 feet here, but there's like a thicker, must be a different bottom content or something, because the weeds get a lot thicker here. And they're, you know, it's coontail and green versus stringy and milfoil. Catch up to them. Another pike. No, yeah, it's a bass.
All right, there you go.
Get white, and look at that jig. Spence, look at that jig.
You ate that
It's
jig
gone.
pretty darn good, yeah.
That jig is gone, look at that. You know, really it started, that first bite really kind of opened the whole door for us today. One, it was in deeper water. It was 4.5, 5.5 feet. Two, it was thicker weeds. On the sonar unit, you could see all the weed growth coming up, and actually on the surface, you could see them coming to the top. And the other thing, it was green weeds, and the green weeds really did make a difference in terms of holding fish. So what's the biggest thing that's changed in fishing from besides boats, from back in the 60s to now?
Well, the learning curve is so much faster now. You know, before you had the exchanging of information, the internet, the electronics, it's just, you know, somebody could really learn what they're doing pretty quick. Keeping an open mind.
There's one. Not a bad fish. See it?
Bass?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Look at that jig, Spence.
Well, he ate it too.
It's gone. Wow, they are chowing this bait. Look at that.
Yeah, they're eating it pretty darn good. You reading some tips on how to catch bass?
There's this guy named Spence Petros.
Yeah. He was all right in the 70s and 80s.
Spence, is this a technique you would have used back then?
Quite frankly, no. I did a lot of jigging plastics, but using these heavier jigs with the paddle tail kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We use paddle tails, but we'd take them off a flat worm where they were molded horizontal, and we'd make them right angle to flat. You know, we'd make a 90-degree out of them on the back of a bait so they had more paddle.
Yep.
The other way, they would glide more, you know. But we were doing that on our own, just cutting them, putting the ends over candles and sticking a hot plastic back together and making, you know, creature type things. But now there's just so many good stuff, you know, with the power baits and the Havoc and the Gulp. And God, I hardly even use live bait anymore for just about anything.
Steve Pennaz has an early lead on one of his fishing mentors, but Spence Petros has too much experience to throw in the towel just yet. And we'll all get to learn a whole lot along the way.
Oh, there he is. Good one.
This segment is brought to you by Yeti Coolers. Yeti, wildly stronger, keep ice longer. On a fall Commando mission with Hall of Fame angler Spence Petros, Steve Pennaz has an early 2-fish lead on a heavily pressured fishery where there are no easy bites to be had.
So what I'm doing is I'm grabbing these ripple shads. This is the 5-inch ripple shads. And I'm taking it and I'm laying it next to the jig. And what I'm doing is I'm cutting a big chunk of the ripple shad off so it fits and it's more compact. And I've got a paddle tail on there so the thing is swimming. And we're just giving a straight retrieve. We throw it as far as we can and just on a steady retrieve, and these fish are coming up. It's almost like a spinnerbait without the blade, and these fish are eating this thing. There's one.
You got one?
Yep.
On a black jig, huh?
Yeah, you know what? 2 bites and about 10 casts now on this
Yeah.
little black one. I've shortened it up a little bit. It's not a giant, but you know what? We're starting to put some fish in the boat.
That's a bass.
Yeah, it's a bass. Got them hooked nice too right here. Just a black jig, and I cut that ripple tail down to almost nothing. Look at how compact this is.
Yeah.
Not a big fish, but you know what? I'm up on the legend. One of my favorite things is to fish with anglers who are very passionate about their sport and understand the little things. Spence still, after 50, 60 years of just aggressive angling, still loves that tap, loves to figure out fish, and it makes him a lot of fun to be in a boat with. He's an aggressive angler, and I love that about him because he's always pushing the envelope. Can I do better? If I switch this, what happens? If I move here, what happens? And when you have an angler like that in the boat, it helps push you as well. Good fish?
Yeah, feels like it.
You're catching up. I'm gonna give you the white jig. Nice one.
Okay.
Right. Whoa, just had a pike miss me right at the side of the boat.
We're tied.
We're tied.
3-3.
Uh-oh, he's getting dangerous now. You know, Spence, we've had a consistent pattern here. We're getting these fish in that 4 to 5 foot range.
Right.
With heavier weed growth, the scattered stuff, nothing. It's just once we get over this carpeted area with these individual clumps, there's fish.
Well, that's because it's deeper.
You know, you decided to go to braid with this presentation. What was it about braid that you liked?
I love braid. It's thinner, you can cast farther, the absolute, the feel, the hook setting, the whole thing. And then the only thing is you don't have the invisibility that you do with a fluorocarbon, so you put a fluorocarbon leader on there. So you get the best of both worlds as far as I'm concerned. I use that a lot. Most of my bass fishing is with that combination. I'm using pretty much spider wire stealth, 10-pound test with 10-pound test fluorocarbon leaders.
You're fishing a lot of deeper water, aren't you?
Oh, there's one.
Get another one. Jeez, the guy's on fire.
Oh, there's a big
Big one. We get the net. Nice one, Spence.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Ooh, yeah, there's a nice one.
Beauty. Oh, that's a stud.
All
Nice.
right. All right.
Way to go. Congratulations. That's awesome. Spencer, that's a
That's a
beaut.
good one.
Look at that.
Got to be close to 4.
Yeah, we got to hold on to that one because I want to get pictures of you with it.
Okay.
But nice fish.
Boy, you did. Hook's just right in the top there. And
Right in the...
now with braid, you know, I mean, to bury it in the top of a nice bass like that, you know, that's good.
Pennaz may have started out red hot, but the legend Spence Petros has come roaring back into the lead. Will the switch to Steve's crankbait pattern change his luck?
So far, your pattern sucks.
Lake Commandos is brought to you by Yeti Coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer. Gulp Alive, looks, feels, tastes alive. Yamaha Marine, reliability starts here. Not too kinky, no kinks ever. Fraybill, trusted gear since 1938. And by Plano, protect your passion. Legendary Hall of Fame angler Spence Petros is hitting his stride on a tough fall largemouth bite. And as the first 2-hour window comes to a close, the Commandos are exchanging fish catches like prize fighters exchange punches.
Come on. You know, we're switching to cranks from jigs, and you just had to pull that out on the last cast.
Well, does put me up a little bit.
When we switched to my shallow running crank pattern, I was down by 1 fish, but confident that I would be back in the lead in no time.
You'd think you'd pick up a straggler or something just running the edge.
I've fished in a half hour so far. Your pattern sucks.
But the crankbait bite never materialized, despite us working several high percentage spots. The only fish we caught was a shorty, and the bad news is, Spence caught it. So we switched back to the swim jig tipped with a ripple shad trailer, with Spence up by 2 fish and threatening to expand his lead.
Oh, there's one. There's one. Got something. It's heavy.
Big fish?
Heavy.
You need a net?
It's heavy, yeah. I don't know what it is. Drag it.
Oh, it's a pike.
look
It's
at
a
that.
big pike.
Big pike.
Spence, that's a double-digit fish.
Yeah, it's a nice pike.
Wow, you barely fit in the net. It almost didn't fit in the net, Spence.
Yeah, it's a nice pike.
Look
That's
at
a good
that.
pike. It's gotta be 12.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Spence's big pike was impressive, yet it didn't count for anything in our bass competition. In fact, it left the door open for me. After catching another small fish, I found myself down by just a single bite to one of my personal fishing heroes. But time was running out.
There's one, Spence. Yep.
There you go.
But this guy just won't quit. Good bass, too.
Yeah.
You tied up. Oh, these fish are still cold. Feel that. I mean, it's just, that water is chilling down, man. Well, I was going to do that to you. Is it 7?
Yeah.
Number 7.
My whole goal when the day began was to put the best to the test on a body of water known to be tough. I also wanted to see if I could hold my own against a Hall of Fame angler. I have to say, mission accomplished on both accounts. Anytime I can get Spence in my boat, it's an honor. To fish him to a tie was just icing on the cake. I took several lessons out of this day with Spence, none more important than realizing success starts with doing the basic things right. The swim jig pattern we fished today allowed us to fish heavy cover without constant hang-ups, while still allowing us to cover massive amounts of water fast. I also learned there's times when a slower retrieve is the key to catching bigger fish. Spence fished slower than me and landed both the biggest bass and the biggest pike. One bait stood out today, and it was the swim-style jig with a shortened Havoc ripple shad tail, slow rolled over and through cover.
You do know if you catch one right now, it doesn't count.
I wouldn't count it anyway. I
competition.
would not count it anyway.
It's been fun, man.
Yeah, it is. Appreciate
It's
it.
great to see you.
They got to do it again. You got to come musky fish with me in a few
I'd
weeks.
love to fish with you.
All right,
I just wish you didn't live 8 hours away.
Well.
I'd love to be in a boat with you more often, but thank you.
we
Thank you
should do it.
Thank you for doing it.
All right.
All right, let's go grab something to eat.
Here's your chance to go Commando and win what works. Log on to our Facebook page and enter our free Win What Works sweepstakes. Every week, we'll pick one lucky winner and send them the same baits we used in that week's Lake Commandos mission. So enter today and go Commando.
And I actually had a pretty good lead going into the last hour, and he pulled it out of the fire, catching a few right in a row right at the last thing. And I'd rather have it tied than anything else, quite frankly. This way we both have bragging rights, and that's the way it is.
I'm Captain George Mitchell. This is Coastal Chaos. How many times have you needed that one extra hand, whether it be at the fuel dock or offshore fishing? Well, let me introduce you to my new little friend, the Helm Master. With just 2 fingers, I can control all 3 outboards. Heck, I can even do things that weren't even possible before. The Helm Master is Yamaha's new, totally inclusive boat control system. Starts off with the helm itself, and then we've got our control box and the joystick. Also included is the Y-Cop, the customer's outboard protection system. While this may look like any other helm, including the tilt feature, the main difference is on the inside, especially the fact that there's no hydraulic hoses. The new Helm Master system from Yamaha allows me to keep my boat positioned exactly where I want it. And the new speed control feature allows me to precisely control the engine RPMs for optimum fuel efficiency. Coastal Chaos, tips for serious saltwater anglers.